Welcome to the weekly close live here on the Passive Income Podcast. Joseph, how are you doing this week?
Dave, I'm doing pretty good. The market's been on the tear, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I think this is going to be a good redemption episode after last week.
Yeah, exactly. So, great point there. The markets have just been absolutely on fire this week. A little bit of a down day yesterday, so it was a great buying opportunity by the dip. But yeah, normally I ask you sort of to plug something while I pull up the screens.
I mean,
But the
I,
first hard hitting question this week, we're not plugging anything. The first hard hitting question is, how are we going to redeem ourselves after last week's episode?
man, I pre-planned a plug too. But all right, no, we're gonna give the best, most hard-hitting stock tips this side of the Mississippi.
What about people watching from the other side of the Mississippi?
Well, they're gonna get better advice somewhere else. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the content, thank you for watching the weekly close. If you don't, thank you for watching the Money Happy Hour.
Yeah, exactly. And
Thank you
okay,
for tuning into this week's episode of The Ramsey Show.
uh, go ahead and get that plug in real quick before I hit the closing numbers for the week.
I was just going to say I plug Marketplace every week. I can say it now. I can't show it. I don't think I can get closer. I think I'll get in trouble for that. But ladies and gentlemen, I downloaded the Marketplace app this week. It is official. It is here. I have it on my phone right now.
Awesome.
I can't give it to you yet, but it is officially on the way.
Okay, here we go. The closing numbers for the week, starting as always here in Canada at the Toronto Stock Exchange, the TSX Composite Index closing the week at 22,673. And of course, that is in Canadian dollars. If you look at the 5-day chart here, Monday morning started out down at 22.89, and then just sort of plugged along through Monday, Tuesday, and then a big jump here on Wednesday morning, all through Wednesday, closing Wednesday, getting into Thursday. I believe we hit an all-time high on Thursday right there around that 22,712. It may have even been higher than that. Oh, yeah, if you look over here at the 52-week range, 22,750.
Looks like it hit
Definitely an
750 today.
Sorry, say again?
I said, it looks like it might hit that 750 earlier today. Yeah, right about there.
Yeah, 744. So yeah, that probably was it. Well, I actually kind of want to jump to the max chart on this, going way back to the mid 80s, as low as 2,800. And then obviously, the stock market does this over the course of 40 years. It goes up and to the right, but kind of just amazing where the TSX is now compared to 40 years ago. Moving right along to the S&P 500. Again, what did you say, 36 all-time highs this year?
Yeah, I saw Unusual Whales tweeted out. It's like 36, 37, some absolutely ridiculous number.
Yeah, it almost looks like, because here's the close from today. I'm on the I'm on the 5-year, sorry, 5-day. The 5-day.
We did hit a new all-time high at some point today based on that day range and 52-week range.
Yeah, well, here I'm on the 5-day chart. Here's Friday at around 1:45 this afternoon, 56.49. Looks pretty high. So closing the week though at 5,615, and of course that's in USD. So the S&P 500 just continues to tear. It's always fun in a bull market just watching the numbers go up and up and up.
I mean, everyone's a genius trader in a bull market too. Let's not forget that.
Exactly. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closing the week over 40,000.
Second time.
Second.
Don't ask me when the first time was, but I know I saw it earlier. It's the second
right
time.
there somewhere back in May, possibly.
Okay, yeah, that right there.
May 17th by the looks of it, maybe.
Makes sense to me.
All right, so the Dow Jones again up and to the right. Of course, these markets on the tear is not really helping my travel plans to come down there to the Carolinas and visit you and Tom and everyone. But
I say, don't forget outdoor finance.
Outdoor finance, exactly. Yeah. I just can't. The exchange rate just sucks for Canadians heading south, but it's amazing for Americans that want to come north for sure, right?
I mean, maybe hey, Tom, Mister the Savings Captain, if you're watching, road trip to Canada, we could.
Well, literally, you get 25% off of everything, right? So
Like, all I'm saying is, I just put new tires on my car. I'll drive.
nice,
All right.
nice.
I just had new tires put on my car. That's not something I'm doing myself.
Okay, I mean, changing a tire is pretty easy, but that's whatever. um, Crude oil closing the week on the New York Mercantile Exchange, and again, this is in USD. $82.25. The 5-day red on oil, so a little different than the rest of the markets, but obviously oil is like that. Bitcoin in Canadian dollars, 78,571 currently. Of course, Bitcoin never
I
closes,
always
as I
forget to
always
do
point out.
this.
I know you want to see what that is in
Yeah,
USD. It's around, I believe, 58 or 59 right now.
57.5.
57.5. So I
So
was
I
like
mean, yeah, no, you a little high. Um,
a little
but
high.
I mean, every week you pull it up, and every week I'm always like, well, what is that in like real currency?
Yeah.
What is
Well,
that in
funny.
the world's safe currency?
Gold. Gold, Jerry Gold, closing the week at 2,416. The 1 day down on 1 day. Yeah, up on the 5 day because last week I recall it closing below 2,400. So a few dollars higher this week on gold. Of course, again, that's in the old USD greenback. Um, do we cover the Russell? I think we've covered the Russell a few times. The Chicago
I
options,
when we're feeling it, we'll cover the Russell.
sure. Um, Closing the week at 2,148 again in USD.
I think we hit another
Yeah,
all time high there too.
yeah, yeah, possibly, very probable. The Nasdaq, the Nasdaq,
Also up and to the right lately.
yeah, not quite at the all-time high. The all-time high, if you can see it there, 18,671. But closing the week at 18,398 in USD. And we'll get right over to our friends across the oceans. Of course, our friends in the United Kingdom. The FTSE 100 in London closing this week at 8,252 quid, because I say it every week.
You do?
And of course, Akito watching tomorrow morning, Saturday morning in Japan. Shout out to Akito. Thanks for the support. 41,190 Japanese yen, which, if you do the conversion, is about 12 or 14 US dollars, I believe, right now. Okay, maybe it's a little more, but the yen is low. And of course, I always like to remind myself if I can't afford to go to the US, I also cannot afford to go to Europe. The Canadian dollar to the euro at 67 cents. So, and those are closing numbers for the week. All right, Joe, what else do we got?
I mean, I guess we jump right into earnings. There's actually a little bit to talk about today.
Exactly. So, not much on Monday and Tuesday, but I don't know. Do you have anything for Greenbrier?
We'll hit Greenbrier. They did slightly miss earnings, $1.06 a share actual over $1.14 a share estimated. Wall Street didn't really care. Stocks up about 3.3% on the week, with a lot of that gain actually coming today, up about 0.75% today. I mean, not a lot to say. You got a stock that's up about 4% over the last year, actually 57% over the last 5. I mean, it's a freight company.
Right.
I mean, like, what? There's only so much to say. They're a dividend payer. Their dividend seems at least pretty solid, pretty stable. Yeah,
And that's about it on Greenbrier.
they're borderline a utility at this point.
Right. Okay, not much more to talk about on Monday. We'll jump into Tuesday. A little bit more here, but I don't really recognize these names. You have any Helen of Troy?
So I was actually, you know what? I've actually got to look up what Helen of Troy does because I said I was going to look that up and I don't remember. they engage in the manufacture and distribution of personal care and household products. It operates through the home and outdoor and beauty and wellness segments. Okay. Pretty solid miss on these earnings. $1.59 estimated, 99 cent a share actual. Ooh, and as such, the stock is down more than 28% this week.
Yikes.
They've been downgraded from buy to neutral by several different analysts. And a lot of Wall Street analysts announced that they're majorly redoing their forecasts for the future over how bad this earnings call was.
Okay.
Wow. Oh wow! And I guess I'm reading an article now. I'm kind of this is how we do analysis live, folks.
That's right.
Revenue actually they only missed revenue by about 6.5%, coming in at 417 million for the quarter. But EPS came in at 76%, which a little quick analysis on that says that profit margins are an issue. If revenue is only missing by 6, but EPS is missing by 76, that net profit margin, that needs some work.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. Do you have anything more for Tuesday?
We'll hit SGH real quick. I don't know what that is, but we'll
Sure.
hit it. That is
Why not?
Smart Global. They work in the computing, memory, and LED markets, specifically memory solutions, intelligent platform solutions, and LED solutions, whatever that means. Wow, stock's up 21.5% this week. They did beat earnings, 37 cent a share actual, over 30 cent a share expected. And I kind of like to point out that's about a 20% beat on earnings, 21%.
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty good. Oh, so they are, and wow, maybe we should have been aware of this stock a little sooner. They're a semiconductor maker,
Oh,
which is kind of the hot industry right now because those magic 2 letters that we bring up every week. Good old artificial intelligence.
yeah.
So yeah, maybe somebody out there in the chat who's smarter than me and Dave, tell us about SGH and why we should or should not buy in.
Yes, please.
Stock is, let's see here, up 55% year to date and up 140% over the last 5 years. I don't know. Is this a buying opportunity or am I just, blinded by a good earnings call?
Possibly a little of column A, a little of column B. A
That
little bit
is
of both.
totally possible.
Interesting. Are we ready to jump in? Sort of the meat of the week was sort of Wednesday and Thursday here.
It really was, though.
Uh, well, before open, Manchester United.
Who is still, as we know, wildly unprofitable.
Which is crazy because, like, they're one of the most valuable sports franchises in the world. If not the most valuable, like, I don't know who would, like, are the New York Yankees or Dallas Cowboys more valuable than Manchester United?
Actually, that's a great point. So,
is there another football club somewhere in Europe that is more valuable than Man U?
Let's see. Let's take a quick look, real quick. So, the New York Yankees are valued at $7.5 billion. So, Los Angeles Lakers are valued at $5.9 billion. And let's go Dallas Cowboys. That's another good one. $9.2 billion.
And what's the value of Man U?
You want to take a guess?
No.
Fair enough. I can't fight that. $2.75 billion.
Really?
Yeah, I think that puts them as. Let's see here. I'm going valuation as in market cap. So yeah, that would put them as even like the smallest NBA team by valuation.
Just to satisfy my Canadian curiosity, look up a hockey team like the New York Rangers. New York Rangers have to be one of the most valuable hockey teams.
New York Rangers just below it, $2.65 billion.
Wow, I would have never guessed that a hockey team would have been that close to Man U in value.
Let's see here. Let's look at. Okay. So here's. Yeah, and then coming in a close second at a little more than $2 billion, you got the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then the Montreal Canadiens coming in just short of $2 billion in terms of valuation.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I know that those are the three most valuable hockey teams for sure.
I'm kind of scrolling through here. I didn't know Arizona had a hockey team today. I learned. So does Nashville.
They
Wow.
don't. They don't anymore.
Oh, oh, okay. I would be a terrible Canadian. I don't know the first thing about hockey.
No, after 30 years in the desert, they finally pulled up stakes and are they're. This is just recent, like at the end of last season, they were still in Arizona, so you weren't that far off. But at the start of next
Okay.
season, they will be playing in Utah.
Yeah,
In Salt Lake.
if you ever want to get weirdly into college football, I can talk that with you. But I don't know the
Okay,
first thing about hockey.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it is just the cultural thing, right? Like in Canada, of course, we watch hockey. In North Carolina, of course, you watch college football.
Let's add another layer to that, Dave. I am born and raised, spent the first 24 years of my life living in Alabama.
Of course.
That's even
So,
more college football country.
yeah. All right. Well, roll Tide, I guess.
Row Tide. I gotta say go Jags for my alma mater.
There you go. Nice. Uh, WD-40. Everyone loves it. Everyone uses it. I mean,
How do you not? It's I sent you that meme. You know, if it doesn't
yeah,
move and it's supposed to, WD-40. But if it moves and it's not supposed to, duct tape. You fixed
exactly.
everything. God, every time this is the second or third time we've talked about WD-40 now. Probably the second because it's July. $1.46 a share actual, $1.38 a share expected, up a little more than 9% this week. Stocks only up about 1.2% year to date, about 3.5% over the last year, but a more solid 47.5% over the last 5 years. I mean, it's WD-40. I mean, well, I do want to make a quick comparison. So, like the original company that manufactured Instapot went under
Okay.
because their product was too good. Like, and it stayed good for too long. Like, who really needs two Instapots?
Right.
So after they hit a margin, there's nothing really more they could do. There's only so much innovation you can do in the Instapot market. And I think about that, and WD-40 has kind of hit, in my mind at least, the exact opposite thing of their product is so good, like you never don't need it.
Right.
I mean, I use it for at-home products, and I'm sure every carpenter, auto worker, blue collar, anything has WD-40 in their toolbox every day at work too.
Definitely.
Um, but their product, unlike Instapot, that'll be good for years and years and years. Man, you can go through a bottle of that stuff quick.
I have at least 3 containers, if not 4 containers of WD-40 in my garage, and yes,
I know for a fact I have at least two.
and I was using it just last Saturday. I had to fix the starter on my lawn tractor, and of course, you got to get some WD-40 in there, right?
There's nothing it won't do. I swear.
Well, um, what else do we have for Wednesday after close? Price Smart, AZZ, or
So I don't
E2
know.
Open?
I looked at PriceSmart. Of everybody at home, please tell me what PriceSmart is. I understand it's a store, and from my understanding, it's like a warehouse, like a Costco type, maybe like an Ollie's Bargain Mart. Um, what's PriceSmart? I guess they're San Diego based, so all of our West Coast viewers watching this will you still have about 2 hours left at work today. Um,
But
yeah,
if your Friday afternoon is like mine was, you're wasting it on the internet anyway. So we're glad you're here.
I mean, hey, I don't care if you're swamped at work and the phone isn't ringing. We're glad you're here.
Exactly.
Yeah, PriceSmart up about 4.5% this week. Saw a little bit of an earnings beat. $1.08 a share actual, $1.01 a share estimated. A couple upgrades to buy actually over what was yet another earnings beat. That's 3 in a row for them. They had a pretty big miss back for Q4 2023. But even before that, we were getting earnings beat after earnings beat after earnings beat. They're doing pretty all right.
Okay, good. Anything on those last two there?
You know what? Look up E2 Open just because that's a funny name, and I'm curious what they do.
Yeah,
Why not? We got the time.
sure.
E2 Open is a provider of supply chain management software. Okay. They're Austin, Texas based. Okay. Down 7.5% this week, even though they hit earnings right on the spot. Wall Street expected 4 cents. E2 reported 4 cents.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
All right. We will jump to Thursday. Wow, we've really plowed through this week. Like I said, there wasn't much going on there on Monday and Tuesday, and I guess a fair bit more here on Thursday. PepsiCo, Delta, Conagra.
Today was the big day.
Yeah, we'll get to Friday. We'll get to Friday.
All right, so let's start with PepsiCo.
What do they do again? Who are they?
Nothing. They make a significantly worse soda.
Yeah, I was just gonna say here is a. Can you see that?
I can. Yeah. So sorry, Pepsi drinkers out there. It's a worse product, and you'll never convince me otherwise. That said, actually, this is a fun story. Did you hear that Pepsi's like now the third largest soda in America?
Yeah, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay, so that was what a week or 2 ago, 2 weeks ago,
That sounds about right. Yeah.
and we were like, Dr. Pepper is its own company. We just assumed Dr. Pepper was either owned by Coke or Pepsi.
I actually knew, and the only reason I know this is because I spent several years in a grocery store, and I have gotten more than one death threat before over not giving somebody the Pepsi sale when they're buying 12 packs of Dr. Pepper.
Right.
Man, people take that $2 off. This would have been 2018, so 12 packs weren't even that expensive yet. Now they're like $14 or something. I don't know what I don't drink soda, but I know they're expensive.
Right.
I
think you can still get like 2 12-packs for around 13 or 14 Canadian in Walmart. So
that just sounds so ridiculous. When I started at the grocery store I worked at in 2018, the non-sale price for a 12-pack of Coke or Pepsi was $4.99.
Right.
$5.
Yeah.
That is, and we almost weekly ran them buy 2 get 2 free. So you get 4 for $10. Hearing that is just so inflation, man.
Yeah, so $2.50.
It came for us.
$2.50 for a 12-pack at 4 for $10.
Yeah. Inflation, it's coming for us all, I guess. I say that like it's not already well here.
Oh yeah, it's here and it's chewing at everybody. We all know it.
So Pepsi, the worst drink manufacturer, about 2% on the week. Up to did slightly beat earnings, $2.28 a share, actual over $2.16 a share estimated. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like Coke. I mean, it's just there. I mean, how do you not? I mean,
yeah,
it's Pepsi. You're not going to get a whole lot of like interesting anything out of it because it's so ingrained in like society and name and like the grocery store.
Yeah. And
then
obviously they have the huge snack line too. Like they own
Frito-Lay
now, and they own
Quaker. So I mean, if you go to a grocery store, you're buying a Pepsi product whether you drink soda or not. I mean,
odds are good, right?
Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of movement out of the stock except maybe through the dividends. It's a solid dividend payer, if I remember correctly, sitting around 3.14% right now. Sorry, not sorry. Pepsi is the Bud Light of soft drinks. Tom, that is 2 phenomenal comments in a row. I loved what you said last week too, and I once again I don't know if you were here earlier, but if you want to meet up sometime in like Raleigh and drop a car off, then we'll drive straight up and see Dave.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome. Come on over.
I don't know what we'll talk about in the car for so long, but I'm sure we will come up with something.
You will be listening to episodes of the Money Happy Hour and the Passive Income podcasts.
I mean, we could do a live like 12-hour Money Happy Hour driving up to Canada.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
But let's move on, I guess, to the absolute king of airlines.
Hold on. Did you actually tell me any numbers about Pepsi? What did Pepsi actually do this week?
I know I said it, or at least I thought I did.
Was I just not paying attention? Did I doze off there for a minute?
Viewers at home, did I say it? If I didn't, I'll say it again anyway. Up 2% this week, a little more than 2%. Slightly beat earnings, 228 over 216. It's Pepsi.
Yeah.
All right, like there's so little to say about it. It's so, I mean, it is a blue chip in a blue can.
Right. Fair enough. Okay, Delta. Was it Delta that had a problem this week with one of their Boeing planes?
I don't know. That's a good question. Delta's down 8% this week, so they got a problem with their stock price more than anything else right now. They did hit earnings pretty spot on. 236 a share actual, 237 a share estimated. And so I let me preface what I'm about to say by telling you that I saw this on Twitter. Oh, excuse me. And as everyone at home knows, you can't lie on the internet. It's illegal to lie on the internet.
Everything you see and read on the internet is 110%
Yeah,
truthful as it
yeah.
has to be.
It's kind of like if you ever meet me in person, I'm 6'4", you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't lie on the internet. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a strong, confident 6'4".
Yeah.
God, if anyone who actually believes that,
I honestly have no idea how tall you are. I've never seen you.
I am 5'6" on the dot.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I'm a short king.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But that is one of my favorite activities to tell people on the internet I'm like 6'4", and then like if we like blue collar investments, I told him I was like 6'2" until we hit the gym together, and he realized that I am not 6'2".
Because he is a tall guy, right? Like he's a
He
big.
is he's a very, I mean, at least from my perspective, everybody's a tall guy.
Yeah, yeah.
My gym buddy in college was like 6'7".
Oh my God. Yeah.
Back to it though, Delta. Perk of being a short guy is I fit pretty well on airplanes. That has never once been a concern for me. Delta down 8% this week. Hit earnings spot on, 236 actual, 237 estimated. We'll call it a hit. One thing I thought that before I get back to the you can't lie on the internet thing, one thing I can say for fact is that Paris is going to be the Paris Olympics specifically are going to be a like millions revenue hit for Delta.
Right.
Because tourism to Paris is going to be so down this year. And that's apparently a very popular vacation destination for Americans traveling to Europe.
Yeah, obviously, right?
Shout out Tommy Travel Tirement.
Yeah.
Always talking about France and everything. So
France and Italy. He's been on the Passive Income podcast in the past.
I recorded an episode. Oh, I owe him an apology. Tommy and I recorded an episode in December. That episode has never seen the light of day.
Joseph.
For the record, there are like 12 episodes of my podcast that I recorded and will never go live, or at this point. Some of them because I got lazy and just forgot to edit it. Tommy and I recorded like December 20th, so I'm blaming Christmas for the reason that I forgot. Some of them, though, like, all I'm going to say is there are about 10 people on the internet right now who came on my podcast, and I have them saying on recording, knowing they were being recorded, some very racist or just otherwise canceling things.
Why would people do that?
I don't know. That's a great question, though. But that's why when I first met you and we just one taked everything, I was like, man, this guy's crazy. Because the first time I tried to go live with somebody, one of the first words out of his mouth, I can't repeat.
Okay.
Yeah, podcast game is wild, folks.
Yeah.
Dave really is just risking it all, letting me on the air every week. That sounds terrible out of context. Oh God, nobody clipped that. Yeah, Delta down 8% this week. Paris being a big hit. So I dove into Delta a little bit because I mean Delta is the king of American Airlines, and I will not. No one will convince me otherwise.
You would think though that the Olympics would be a draw. Like people would be going to Paris to see the Olympics and to the athletes and the coaches and all the people that have to get there.
Supposedly, yes. But for one, only
But in reality, it's actually less tourism than just a normal day in Paris.
Yep. Well, from my understanding, and from reading what I read about the earnings call, was number one, a lot of the travel to Paris will be happening on like Air France.
Right.
Air France projected some very high revenues due to
Because
the,
they're
the
probably like
Paris
the
Olympics.
official partner of the Olympic, or they're probably the official
Oh,
partner, right?
for sure. And then
That makes sense.
the other issue then is like when the Olympics comes down or comes to it. From my understanding, obviously never been. Um, Paris is going to be like fully shut down for like a couple weeks there between
Right.
setup, Olympics, and takedown,
Yeah.
where there will be little to no tourism. So there, because everyone's going to get there, stay for a while, and then come back. There's no continuing flights or nowhere near as many.
Right.
Um,
So I
so,
have been to the Olympics. I was at the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, and what is this is Boomer. Now we really want to hear those podcasts. Oh, Boomer, Boomer, Boomer.
I keep them around. Like there are a few people who I watch on Twitter, and I'm not going to give you names, but I think at least a few of you know who you are. If you slip up, I'm releasing tapes.
Okay, okay. Uh, Sorry, getting back to my little brief segment there about the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, I was actually a volunteer at the snowboard cross races, snowboard and ski cross races, and yeah, basically for 3 weeks, uh, like a party was going on. The city was more vibrant than usual than ever before. Um, and then the final big event for every Winter Olympics is the gold medal hockey game, and Canada did win it that year. So like Sunday night was just absolutely crazy. And then Monday morning came, and it was like a ghost town. It was like the party's over. It was like so kind of to your point. There's like it just comes and goes real fast.
Oh yeah, um, yeah, and so I don't know if this is related, but again, this is where I was saying you can't lie on social media. I saw it on Twitter. Someone tweeted it. You can't lie on Twitter. I'm 6'4", all that fun stuff. Um, Somebody said that in Delta's earnings call, this didn't make the news, but if you listen to it live, they said they were having profitability concerns due to like inflation and also the current environment, especially in the U.S. Traditionally speaking, as we head into a recession, the first thing that falls or the first thing that sees a significant decrease is vacation spending.
Yeah, and obviously that's airline travel.
Oh, I mean, airlines and cruises are basically vacation machines.
Right.
Probably more so cruises, but I guess we'll see what it. I guess a lot of is Delta a buy right now? Not financial advice, of course. Comes down to do you think the American economy is heading toward a recession, and how bad will that recession affect the average consumer, the average household?
Yeah, well, kind of going back to the top, right? We keep talking about a bull market and all-time highs and
Mm-hmm.
the market's on fire. It's not going to last forever.
Oh no,
Eventually there will be some type of market correction or full-on recession. So,
I don't know the actual numbers behind this. This is what they taught us in college, that the U.S. economy, on average, works in an 8 to 12 year cycle. So
yeah,
every 8 to 12 years, you should expect a market crash
right.
of some sort or another. And right now, that's a weird point because if you look back historically, we saw that market crash in what 2000, 2001, the dot-com bubble burst,
Yeah,
followed by 8, 9 years later, 2009, you saw the real estate collapse.
yeah.
Call it what 10, 11 years later.
12 years late. Yeah, 11 to 12 years later for
The
the COVID
2020 COVID
crash.
crash. So right now we are theoretically, if you go by what the textbooks will tell you, we are 4 years into what should be a new booming economic cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, well, you're right. Never know, but I'm just that is what a textbook. If you get a degree in finance, that's what the textbook will tell you.
Right. Do you have anything for Conagra or Bank? Is that
So
Bank 7? I don't even
that
know what
is
that is. That's obviously, is that a
I
regional bank?
I don't either. I looked it up just for funsies. Bank 7 is a regional bank based out of Oklahoma City. Um, I don't know how many locations they have. They only have 123 employees, so I'm assuming not many. Up 15.5% this week. Solidly beat earnings. $1.23 a share actual over $1.04 a share estimated. Um, PE right now of just short of $10, 2.5% dividend yield. Stock's up 27, 28% year to date. Why did no one tell me about Bank 7? They seem to be on a bit of a tear right now.
Anything for ConAgra?
I'll look him up just for fun. I don't
So
know.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, ConAgra is a food distribution company.
That the logo kind of reminds me of a carrot, so I'm assuming you're right.
Yeah, it's. I believe they import and probably export food grown wherever in California, Brazil, Peru, China, Canada.
All I can tell you is they're up about 0.6% this week. You're right. They do processed and packaged foods. And they did slightly. That's a pretty solid beat. A little short, about an 8% beat. 57 cent a share actual. 57 cent a share estimated. Excuse me. 61 cent a share actual. ConAgra.
Yeah.
Apparently, the North American pork market and global honey forecast gave them a boost this week.
Okay.
Sure. Somebody out there probably is like, yeah, you didn't know that, or you don't follow that. No, I don't. I touch grass.
And then on Friday before open this morning, it looks like a bunch of the U.S. banks,
Oh
J.P. Morgan,
yeah.
Wells Fargo, Citi.
So I said this in a comment earlier on one of Dave's tweets. I hate Friday earnings calls because I don't have enough time to like research them as well as I'd like to. But we can't walk away without hitting these. Let's
Right.
start with the largest bank by market cap in the world. Good old J.P. Morgan Chase. Since reporting earnings, the stock lost about 1.2% today and is down about 1.3% on the week. They did beat earnings, 440 cents a share actual over 419 cents a share estimated. What we kind of saw with all of these banks, and again, this is where we get into I didn't have no time to do full research, but what I was reading about them today is overall with the big banks reporting, your JP, your Wells Fargo, your Citi, net income was disappointing across the board for each of these stocks. I know for JP Morgan, equities trading revenue jumped about 21% to $3 billion on the quarter. Investment banking fees went up 52% year over year, and overall earnings are up 25% year over year to $18.15 billion, which, I mean, God, absolutely insane numbers. Like Jamie Dimon. How you doing, bud? Like whatever you're doing, you're obviously doing it extremely right. Like
Yeah,
this man,
doing it right and well.
yeah, this man, at least from what I can see, Jamie Dimon, I'm assuming it's Dimon, Dimon, is what's the Howard whatever? What is the Starbucks guy's name?
Oh, I'm not sure off the top of my head either. I'm sorry.
Howard. Okay, I almost said Howard Stern, but I'm like, no, that's the podcast guy. Yeah. So Jamie Dimon is J.P. Morgan's Howard Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz, that's right.
I mean, like the man. I mean, let's be honest. J.P. Morgan wasn't hurting before he took. I don't want to say power, before he took the helm, but he has led J.P. Morgan to one of the most insane bull runs for such a long time that we've ever seen.
Yeah, crazy. I did not know that J.P. Morgan was the biggest bank in the world, but it is believable.
By market cap, they are.
Yep, it's like I said, it's believable. Are you moving on to Wells Fargo?
You know what? Why not? Let's move on to old Henry Wells and first name Fargo guy. Wells Fargo, let's see here, also fell pretty solidly today, like an even 6%. Makes my job easy. After reporting earnings today to close down 6.8% on the week, they also slightly beat earnings, $1.33 a share actual over $1.29 a share estimated. Net income, once again, dipped under. They beat revenue, they lost on net income. And the big thing that I saw people note, Wells Fargo only recorded $11.92 billion in net interest income, only $12 billion. Somebody, please help out Wells Fargo. But that is down 9% from the same quarter last year.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a big drop.
Yeah, a little bit. And I guess let's move on to Citigroup, Citibank.
Yep.
Why not? Citibank fell about 2%, or about 1.8 after earnings day to close. We're going to call it flat on the week. I think they're down by like 0.05%. We're going to call it flat. They actually had a pretty solid call, definitely more solid than Wells Fargo, and arguably more solid than J.P. Morgan's. Did pretty solidly beat earnings, $1.52 a share actual over $1.39 estimated. That is about a 9% beat for anybody doing the math at home. Quarterly revenue rose 4% year over year. And investment banking revenue expanded or grew by as much as 60%. Was $853 million for the quarter. Equities trading revenue up 37% to $1.5 billion for the quarter. And net income overall jumped 10% year over year to $3.2 billion.
Wow.
So Citibank, shout out to you guys.
Yeah, well done.
I don't know.
BNY, are we done with Citi? Moving
We
on
are.
to
We are. I do not know the first thing about BNY Mellon. Aren't they like New York based, like New York City? Aren't they one of those banks?
You're asking the wrong guy.
You're closer to New York City than I am, sir.
Really?
I don't know. Let's find out real quick. How many hours
Could
are
be
you from
about
New
a
York
10-hour
City?
drive for me. It can't be a 10-hour drive for you, can it?
Let's look it up.
I might be closer. I don't know.
It is a 13-hour drive for me.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it would be probably more than 10 to 11 hours for me, but that is closer.
And I don't have to go through a border crossing, so maybe it works out.
Well, yeah, right there. Well, I might take another hour or two at the border too, so it might end up being the same amount of time.
But yeah, let's go to BNY Mellon, who's another bank, about 7.5% this week. Beat earnings $1.51 a share actual, $1.43 a share estimated. Let's see here. I did not do any research on BNY because I don't know the first thing about them, to be honest. Let's see if I can find a good article real quick. I don't think that I can, so we're just going to say BNY. Beat earnings, stock jump. Good. Yep, that's all I got.
Is that all we got?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the technical analysis you have to pay for. Click in my link in my bio to buy my course.
Oh my.
Did Fastenal actually report earnings? Because I feel like we saw them last week and they just didn't do it. Oh, they did. 51 cents a share, both actual and estimated. Stock is up 2% today, up about 3.75% on the week. And they saw a pretty solid boost in gross revenue. So good for Fastenal.
We're talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say I don't remember exactly what they do, but then I remembered I can just look it up real quick because we have the power of the internet, and they make fasteners and tools. Good.
I can tell you all sorts of things about Fastenal because I use them on all the time at my 9-to-5 day job. First of all, shout out to Delaney, my extremely attractive, good-looking, very cute account rep. So, Delaney, if you're watching, which I know you're not, thank God. Yeah, Fastenal, all sorts of things like, just nuts and bolts and all sorts of different fasteners. Things that you also wouldn't really expect them to have, but they stock like, obviously you probably maybe you would expect them to stock like gloves, all sorts of different styles of gloves in whether they're work gloves or food grade gloves or all sorts of different things. You can buy tools at Fastenal. You can buy all sorts of things at Fastenal, except you cannot do it if you are just a random person. They only sell to businesses.
So you're saying this is like the Costco of hardware stores?
Well, not even that. Like a Costco, pretty much anybody can go and buy a membership, right?
That's fair. You got me on that. Costco raised membership prices this week for everybody watching at home. And
Yeah, I did see that. I did hear that.
and for like the 9 of you that yelled at me in my TikTok comments today, or not today, this week, about Costco's membership prices, I get it. I misspoke. It happens.
And then rounding off the end of the week this morning, I don't know if you have anything for Ericsson. That
I'm
is the mobile phone manufacturer comparable to Nokia. And because I just remember from 20 years ago, people had Nokias and Motorola's and Ericssons, and now everybody either has an iPhone or a Samsung or a Google Pixel, and those are the only three phones left.
I actually want to make one more shout out. Speaking of people being mean to me in TikTok comments, shout out
Okay.
to my mom yesterday for calling me and
Your
letting
mom
me
was being mean to you in your TikTok comments?
No, no, she's just mean to me over the phone. Shout out to my mom for taking time out of her day yesterday to call me and let me know that people were being mean to me on TikTok. I was like,
Okay.
thanks for looking out for me, I guess. In fact,
Okay.
Ericsson up 4.7% this week. Stockholm based. Let's see here. They missed earnings by about 80%. 1 cent a share actual, 5 cent a share estimated. Yeah, Ericsson. You were right. I mean, they totally used to be a phone manufacturer. Because now that you say it, I remember it. But real quick for everybody at home, they're based out of Stockholm, so they are a Swedish company. Go home and look up the Swedish word for telecommunications.
Okay.
That's the first thing on my screen right now. It's Swedish. Swedish is a funny language, and I love it.
All right. I did notice that earlier that this week you are probably not Dividend Dave.
I was wondering how long it's going to take it. I was hoping Dividend Boomer would notice first.
All right. This was just sent to me. I see
not.
we have some extra time here. I'm just reading this on my phone. It was just sent to me. Hawk Tui drink. Ingredients: rum, 2 ounces; pineapple juice, 1 ounce; lime juice, 1 ounce; simple syrup, ½ ounce; blue Curaçao, ½ ounce; ice cubes, garnish, pineapple slice, lime wheel. Instructions: in a shaker, combine ice cubes, pour in the rum, pineapple juice, lime juice, simple syrup, and blue Curaçao. Or is it Curaçao? Curaçao.
I say Curaçao, which means it's probably
vigorously
Curaçao.
Until well chilled. Strain the mixture into a glass filled with fresh ice. Add a pineapple slice and a lime wheel for garnish. Enjoy this vibrant concoction for a true taste of the tropics.
But when do you spit on that thing?
Probably after you drink about 8 of them, you're going to be spitting all over all sorts of things.
I'm not going to lie. Send me that recipe because that sounds like something I would indulge in.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know where the hot tua comes in, but good for her.
Honestly, that just looks like a random old recipe that somebody just put that name at the top of it.
something my aunt would share on Facebook or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually is a Facebook link that I was reading from. So
I stand by. I definitely stand by that. Then.
Fair enough. Do we have anything else to talk about this week before we wrap it up?
No. Other than I'd like to hear your opinion on one thing. So you shared this the other day, I think from the monetization coach, how X is working on live stream monetization, or was it video monetization?
Video monetization, and yeah, you're exactly right. I think that was just yesterday. I quote posted him saying, video monetization, yes, because obviously we're really we're hoping they pick us up and they, the algorithm just shoots us out there to, everyone on X and they start paying us the big bucks, right?
I mean, hey, you just got your first YouTube payout, by the way, so.
Oh, thank you. I haven't gotten it yet. I've qualified for it and it's coming next month. So hopefully it hits the bank account.
Still free money.
It's not free money, man. There's no such thing as free money.
Oh, I believe I'm well aware of how much work goes into this.
Okay. You asked my opinion on something, and now I have to ask your opinion on something. We don't talk
All
about
right.
politics very often. Um, I mean, obviously, sometimes we'll talk about Biden or Trump or JT. We very rarely talk about other world leaders like Putin or Zelensky. But I believe it was it just yesterday at the NATO summit, and I think it was in two different press conferences, but like twice in one day that Biden had like serious malfunctions where he referred to Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, as President Putin. And then not long later on Twitter, he was talking about Kamala Harris, saying I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump for VP if I didn't think she was capable of being president or something like that. Like, what's wrong with that guy? Like,
I'm gonna leave my opinion at this, which is I fully intend to vote in November. I will be going to the polls. However, I don't believe I'll be voting in the presidential race.
you're just going to
I
leave it blank.
on a personal level, I am not. I do not stand behind either candidate. I'm unhappy with both.
All right. Well, on a side note, in November, since the U.S. loves letting illegal immigrants vote in your elections, I also plan on voting in November in your election.
Let me know, we'll follow up with them. Let me know how that goes for you.
All right. On that note, I don't know. I don't think we can have anything more to say. Actually, shout out to Mistress Divvy. She had a great tweet just today. I don't know if I can find it here really quickly. Maybe I can. And she was talking about exactly that, about Putin's miscues. And if I can just find it here real fast. What did she say? Where was it? Oh yeah, here it is. I'm gonna share that screen actually because she's spot on, like bang on the point, right? This one. Yeah, I'm just gonna. So her post is again, shout out Mistress Divvy. It's not even funny anymore. He needs to get he needs to get some help and step down. If I talked that way at work, I'd be sent home and get a psych evaluation. This isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. He is just falling apart and makes the country look weak. So I think she nailed it right there. It's not Democrat or Republican issue. It's like if I talked that way at work, I'd be sent home. Like it's just I don't think you can sum it up any better than that, to be honest.
Like I said, I don't want to get into too hard of an opinion either way on
Right.
really anything. I try very hard not to do that in any of my content. I will just say I am not happy with our presidential candidates this year, our nominees from the major parties.
Or in 2020 or in 2016. It's
Who
like
ran? I'm trying to remember who ran in 2016. I honestly, I should remember.
Hillary.
I would say that would have been the that. Could I vote in 2016?
Yeah,
I. How old
that
am
was Hillary versus
I?
Trump, and Trump won, and then Trump, well, obviously was president for 4 years. Then 2020 it was Trump versus Biden, and now it's Trump versus Biden again.
I
So
actually, I also did not vote in the presidential race in 2020 either for the same reason. So,
yeah, just
you
because
say
like,
if nothing else, I'm consistent.
and honestly, it's not like Canada is doing any better in politics. I'm not like trying to throw jabs at the U.S. Like, what's that saying? Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So, okay, enough of that. Another great week. As always, Joseph, probably not Dividend Dave. Like every single week, I
I'm
truly
probably
enjoy
not.
talking to you, and I truly appreciate you and your time. So, with that said, if you're still watching and you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube or the follow button on any of the other platforms.
And as always, thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you so much. See you next week.